Good evening and welcome to Sports Extraordinary on Atlantic Television Network. My name is Kingsley Emmanuel and I'm very happy to be here this evening to bring you up to speed with the latest revolving around the water sports. A lot happened over the weekend and of course we'll be unraveling all that happened over the weekend to you right here on today's edition of the show. We shall take a look at the round of 16 performance of some teams in the Euro 2024, not forgetting the Copa America as well as the ongoing Wimbledon, as you know as it is, getting really interesting down there, and we'll take a look at all of this on the show. Take a short break, and when we'll come back from this break, we'll bring you all that you need to know revolving around the water sports. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
I don't get a lot. Boy, they won't booga me small. They say, man, give them bribe. I say, nothing. Okay, now, we'll go block later. You remember that contract we will do that time now? They don't pay.
But first, you see the house rent with the old things. We go first call caretaker, take the money, slap him.
Beg, see, you know, say I get annual levy why they pay for club. Where me and boys they shark beer in our house, I could pay that one. You remember say me and tell you I go buy you motor. I go buy now.
Okay, they pay you money now. Why would don't they beg caretaker? Why would they beg landlord, old man, and they agree give us time? Money can't come now. You won't divert time. You said na corruption. Corruption, not in my house and not in my country.
Sure?
Sure.
Corruption, not in my country.
This message is brought to you by the Akinfade Foundation, the MacArthur Foundation,
and with broadcast support from Atlantic Television Network.
Corruption, not in my country.
Kasali, I hope some car don't ready. I get interview in 30 minutes.
Guy, you don't ready. I just the last minute instruction where you give me yesterday. Now in the cause more delay.
Which instruction?
Welcome back to Sport Extraordinary on Atlantic Television Network. And joining me on today's edition of the show is Emmanuel Michael. Michael, good evening to you and welcome to Sport Extraordinary.
A beautiful evening to you, Kingsley, and good evening to our viewers out there.
All right, let's take a look at the performance of Team Nigeria in the Rugby African Cup 7 tournaments down there in Madagascar. Nigeria's senior national rugby team, the Black Stallions, faced significant challenges in the first round of the African Cup 7 tournament. Placed in a tough group with Kenya, Madagascar, and host Mauritius, and missing key players including their captain and co-captain Declan Nwachukwu and Olakulade, as well as former captain Onaro Jatu and Olu Odunlami, due to a bone bruise. The team struggled to find their footing. The Blacks alone kick off their campaign against Madagascar, losing 36-14 despite its spirited efforts. In their second game, they faced one of Africa's strongest rugby team, Kenya, and lost 25-0. Their third match against host Mauritius ended in a 26-5 defeat. In the ninth place semi-final, Nigeria defeated Tunisia 9-5, but eventually lost to Zambia 27-7 in the 9 to 10 place placement match in that particular. But Michael, you take a look at it, a very poor outing, for the rugby team of Nigeria. They lost against Madagascar 36-14. You take a look at the margin down there, very wide. To Kenya as well, 25-0. They didn't even have any points down there. And to Mauritius, 26-5. A very huge defeat. So they only were able, in the ninth place semi-final, they defeated Tunisia 19-5. That was the only game they were able to win, and they finished 10th, in the standing. What do you make of the performance of Team Nigeria rugby team?
For me, Kingsley, I think it's not an impressive one. Poor display from the Team Nigeria rugby team out there. Of course, we understand that this is not one of our major sports here in the country. Likes of Kenya, Madagascar, even Mauritius, they are faring better in terms of rugby, in terms of their performance and achievement compared to Nigeria. This has never been our sport, but then again, that does not also mean that when we go for such competition, we just go out there to make up the numbers. I think for me it's quite disappointing, because you look like though it's a waste of resources taking them down there. The capital flight, the expenditure that comes with it. If they are not going out there to compete favorably, then what, you ask yourself, what is the reason of sending such a team down there? Because for me, like I said, it would be a waste of resources. We are just going for any competition just to go and make up the number, not to compete with other teams out there. The result is not a very good one, not an encouraging one. Then I also think it should be a wake-up call for the Rugby Federation of the country to start looking at what they are going to do in order to improve our outing come next championship out there. Because if this is what we can offer in all of these years, after all the preparation, don't forget they were in camp for about 2 weeks before going for this competition, and after 2 weeks camping, going for such competition, we could not even make any positive impact. It's going to be a very sad one if we continue in this. So like I say, it's a wake-up call for the Rugby Federation. They need to also put their acts together, do the needful, go take some of our players out there to some of this country where they think that they are better than us. Let them go and learn, and coming back, they are going to.
There were even some foreign players in the team.
Yes, but then they were unable to make any impact out there. That is to tell you that we still have a lot to do.
Speaking after the first round, Nigerian Rugby Football Federation President Dr. Ademola Ray assured that the Black Stallions would bounce back in the second leg of the tournament, and we'll see how far they'll go down there. But away from rugby this evening, let's take a look at Formula One, as George Russell won the Austrian Grand Prix after a collision between Max Verstappen and Lando Norris while they were fighting for the lead. Russell's win was Mercedes' fourth since the 2022 Brazilian Grand Prix. He was under pressure from McLaren Oscar Piastri in the final laps, but was able to maintain his winning advantage in that particular one. George Russell, Mercedes, Michael, getting a win for Mercedes since 2022.
Yeah, for me, I think it's no surprise because he got the victory because of the fact that Max Verstappen, who is the favorite, actually collided with Lando Norris, and that is what actually gave him that edge over some of the favorite names like Max Verstappen. For me, I think if that collision has not happened between Max Verstappen and Lando Norris, I tell you, Max Verstappen should have won this very one. also. And of course, you listen to London Norris a few hours after that game, criticizing his long-time friend. Off circuit, they are a very, very good friend, but then he did not hide his feeling in that very one. He came out publicly to criticize his friend, talking about Max Verstappen, saying that he was too, over-ambitious, and that is what actually cost him. And that is not the first time that he has been driving very dangerously, according to his words out there. I think for me, that is what actually gave, Russell that after 2 years of Mercedes not being able to win any race. It's surprising again for me, in the sense that I actually expected his teammate, talking about Lewis Hamilton, to win this very one, having finished fourth in 3 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago he finished third, so this time I thought maybe he was going to finish probably first or even second. And I was pretty much happy when that collision happened between Max Verstappen and London Norris. I was just thinking that Hamilton is going to seize that opportunity to at least make it count this time around, but he was unable to do that. Big congratulations to George Russell, and for Mercedes, who over 2 years have not won a single race out there. I think for me, it's a big feat. But the question is, can he build on this? Can we see the similar occurrence come the next year? We just have about 13 races to go. 11 already down, 13 to go. Can he build on this good performance? It still remains a question that he needs to answer, come the next race.
Of course, we have to look down to the main race. We'll look forward to see if there might be a collision. Maybe he might come up again, or possibly, and the race being a different one. But George Russell came first. Alcas Piastri of McLaren came second, and Carlos Sainz came third. Lewis Hamilton came fourth. Max Verstappen came fifth. Nico Hülkenberg came sixth, and the man Sergio Perez came seventh down there. Kevin Magnussen came eighth, and Daniel Ricciardo, of course, came ninth. Pierre Gasly came 10th in that particular race we saw. And it's been an impressive one so far. We look forward to see how it is. A little bit of competition we saw in the last 2 races, and we hope that the competition will continue, in Formula One. Lewis Hamilton, came fourth in this one. The last race, I think he had a podium finish. He came third. It seems as if there's improvements in Lewis Hamilton, driving skills at the moment.
Sure, there is, and that's what I stated earlier before now. I said that 3 weeks ago he finished fourth, 2 weeks ago he finished second. This time around also, he not finished in a very bad position. He finished respectedly. So I think for me, Lewis Hamilton, if he can at least add more fire, add more spark to his drive out there, I see him possibly winning 1 or 2 out of the 13 races that is remaining. But then again, he needs to be on top of his game, because Max Verstappen, London Norris, and the rest of the drivers that have also won 1 or 2 races so far this season is also ready to pounce on any opportunity, like what we've seen George Russell did over the weekend to win this one. So if Hamilton must win a race this season, he needs to also keep up that consistency going. And if he truly keep it going, I can assure you that he will definitely win a race out of the 13 that is remaining.
Let's see how it goes for the man Lewis Hamilton. We hope he continues with this level of momentum going forward. But let's bring you the latest coming from tennis. The Wimbledon is on. We told you as Derek Kasakina saw off a spirited performance by Lina Fernandez to win the Esteban International in straight sets in that particular encounter we saw. But talking about the Wimbledon, there have been some strange, let's say strange, not a very cheering news to say that Aryna Sabalenka, she has withdrawn from the Wimbledon this time around due to injury. Michael, what do you make of this one for Aryna Sabalenka?
Not a good one, Kingsley. Aryna Sabalenka is one player that has a lot of fans out there. And pulling out of this very one invariably means that some of her fans out there will miss her on the court. And you expect her to also pull out a massive crowd in this very one, because there are so many persons that have also been following her game. She has so many fans out there. She is a big name when you talk about the WTA. And of course, what keeps any major competition, whether Wimbledon, whether the French Open, Roland Garros, just name it. What keeps the fans at the edge of their seats is about the excitement of getting to see their favorite names, getting to see some of the big names, getting to see good tennis played out there. And in such a big competition where one of the big names in the WTA have pulled out, of course, there are so many fans that would have wanted to turn up to the stadium just because of Aina Zabalenka, but courtesy of her not being present in this very one, courtesy of injury, I think most of the fans, will not want to come out. But then, I think, like I said earlier, it's going to be a very disappointing one for her fans out there. I've been hoping to see Aina Zabalenka on the court for this Wimbledon. But then again, that doesn't take away the fact that this year's Wimbledon, we still have a whole lot of stars in the WTA that is going to at least light up, different courts out there in this very year's edition.
Talking about the latest result coming from the Wimbledon, we've seen Maria Sakkari got past Kesa in a 6-3, 6-1 victory. And Veccha, of course, beat Serenko in a 6-3, 6-1 results down there. And the likes of Yamstrenka got past Podroska in a 6-1, 7-6 result in that particular game. And she's talking about a result from the female category. Paulini got past Tomo in a 7-6, 6-2 encounter down there. Naomi Osaka got past the Perry in a 6-1, 1-6, 6-4. Naomi Osaka, she seems to be gradually getting back her mojo. So at the French Open where she challenged Iga Swiatek, but after that dogged performance where she was hosted out, she now she's putting up some impressive move. She just got past the Perry, though you would say not a very, very strong opponent in the 6-1, 6-1, 6-1, 6-4 down there.
Yeah, for Naomi Osaka, she came back from maternity leave. You can see the sign of her trying to come back into the form we used to know of her. That doesn't happen in a day. It will take much time, probably some games, a few months before she can be able to hit back that form that we know of Naomi Osaka. For a lady who gave birth, coming out after maternity leave, you don't expect her to hit the ground running. And she has been very, very good. She has been taking it one game after the other. And you expect this one to be a light work for her because, just like you said, if you take a look at the quality of the opponent she actually faced in today's game, you want to say, yes, it's expected that she was going to overcome this very well. But then big challenges lies ahead. She just needs to start getting this win against some of the less fancied players out there to keep building that momentum going forward. But I tell you, one thing is very, very sure, that it will get to a stage where she would definitely lock horns against some of the big names out there, and that is where we are going to see the true test of her ability. Whether we are going to, be rest assured that we are going to say, yes, Naomi Osaka is back to her full fitness. It still remains to be seen. For now, let her continue to pick up some of the wins in some of the, less fancied opponent. Then until we get to that point where we see her facing up against maybe a top-ranked player, maybe a player that is ranked from number 10 or even 15 down to number 1. That is where we are going to see a litmus test of what Naomi Osaka has been up to.
All right, let's move down to the male category as some interesting results are out down there. Nakashima, of course, get past Bears in a 6-2, 6-3, 6-4 victory. Daniel Medvedev got past Kovacevic in a 6-3, 6-4, 6-4, 6-2 victory down there. Stan Wawrinka was able to go past Broom in a 6-3, 7-6, 6-4 down there. And Carlos Alcaraz got past Laja in a 7-6, 7-6, 6-2 victory. A very impressive performance, you say, down there for the man Carlos Alcaraz.
Yeah, for Carlos Alcaraz, I think that confidence is beginning to build back. That momentum is trying to get back his mojo, trying to get back to the lights where we also saw him in the past 2 years. He's been mentioned as one of the biggest things that is coming to take up the world of ATP after the likes of Novak Djokovic. So for me, I think he is keeping that momentum going. For so far, so good this season. You will not say that he had a very bad season. He has had a very good season so far because he capped it up with a major tournament, a major trophy which he won rather. So for me, I think Carlos Alcaraz is going to be in the midst of the player that you expect to go far in this year's Wimbledon. Carlos Alcaraz, Yannick Sinner, maybe the master himself, talking about Novak Djokovic, if all things being equal, that is totally fit in this very one. Taylor Fritz, these are some of the big names that I want to say, yes, we are expecting them to go far in this very tournament. But narrowing it down to the performance of Carlos Alcaraz, I tell you, it's a roller coaster ride for him. The reason is because this is a player that is not seeded among other players and is not ranked in a very good position, you want to say. So majorly in the first game of the Wimbledon, you expect some of the seeded player to get an easy draw, and getting an easy draw doesn't totally annul the fact that possibly if you don't live up to the expectation, they are going to cause an upset. But then in a range or in a scale of 1 to 10, you expect some of these big names to at least get 8 over 10 in their wins against some of the less fancied players.
All right, so let's keep our fingers crossed and take a look at how the results, of course, unfold in the Wimbledon. Just the first round, and we're looking forward to see more games, going forward at the Wimbledon. And away from that, let's talk football on the show as the newly promoted Nigerian Premier Football League side, Economy Warriors, have won this year's President Cup by defeating Abia Warriors by 2-0 in the final at the Mobolaji Johnson Arena, Olikon, Lagos over the weekend. The Medjugorje side secured Nigeria's second CAF Confederation Cup ticket for next season and will vie for honors in African second-tier club competition alongside Imba, who earlier sealed their spot after finishing third in 2023 and 2024 Nigerian Premier Football Leagues. The Michael Economy Warriors winning the NNL, and now they've secured the tickets for the CAF Confederation Cup.
Impressive season that the Economy Warriors have had so far this season, Kingsley. If a club could ask for anything else, it's not. It's about asking for the continental ticket, which Economy Warriors have gotten. Not just gotten the continental ticket, but they also got promoted from the NNL down to the top flight league, talking about the Nigerian Premier Football League. Also getting to win the President Federation's Cup, making it 3 times, so far. And the first after 22 years, and also gaining a continental ticket. I think it has been a very impressive season that the Economy Warriors is having. Though it was a battle of 2 warriors, Abia Warriors and Economy Warriors. Heading into this very one over the weekend, so many persons actually tipped Abia Warriors to get a victory against Economy Warriors. But in football, we keep saying, in football, you just expect the unexpected. Most time, the team that you favor, to go all the way to win a particular trophy just because they are playing against a less experienced, can they be able to revive the hope of Nigerian club side in the continent? Because since last time Enyimba won the CAF Champions League, we've tried some other clubs out there over the years trying to represent us in the continental, CAF organized competition, but we have not seen anything positive. We haven't won any major in the continent ever since Enyimba did that in 2004-2005 season. So my only worry for Economy Warriors is that can they be able to give us a good representation? That is the big question here. And I think that they need to start preparing earnest, knowing fully well they are not just going to compete in the Nigerian Premier Football League, because that is another challenge for them. Coming to the Nigerian Premier Football is a big challenge. We've seen the likes of Sporting Lagos, Doma United, who also gained promotion 2 seasons ago down to the Nigerian Premier Football. They could not even stay afloat in Nigeria. So it's a bit of challenge for Economy Warriors, a survivor to stay within the NPFL after gaining promotion. Then again, the burden of trying to do pretty well in the continent. How can they be able to handle all of these challenges? It's a big question. So for me, that is the only angle that I'm very worried, if they can be able to give us a good representative. But in all of this, I think for Economy Warriors, they've had an impressive season.
Impressive season, you see, for Economy Warriors, and we hope, just like Michael said, they'll be able to go out there and put up a very good representation for the Nigerian League in the continent. This means that they have to get some players. They have to get, well experienced players, in the mix, and look forward to see how this one goes. This is the third time they are winning the Federation Cup. They won, I think, in 1991, 1992 as well. And the third time they are winning the Federation Cup, and I will hope that this will be a morale booster for them heading down to the Nigerian Premier Football League come next season. And talking about the Federation Cup as well, Rivers Angels were able to get past Niger Rochers to win the President Cup for the 9th time. What do you make of the victory for Rivers Angels?
It's a good one, a very sweet victory for them, and a make-up for losing out narrowly on the league. They just concluded the season. So the only way they could have been able, they should be able to smile home this season is for them to make sure they win it, which is what they did. They've actually, been very, very good in terms of the trophy won in the last 10 years. I think Rivers Angels, they are up there. They've been able to hoist the flag and be able to maintain that structure within the Rivers Angels. We saw the Rivers United talking about the male counterpart not living up to the expectations so far this season. So I think the female counterpart is also taking responsibility to finish very strong. So for me, I think it's a big congratulations for the Rivers Angels. But the only thing is that despite winning it, they cannot also go for the continent, because we just have only one team that's going to represent us in the continent. That is the only thing that is not pretty much good about that. But in all, I think the monetary reward as well and winning the trophy is also a big achievement for them.
All right, so we'll take a short break now. When we come back, we'll bring you other matters revolving around the world of football. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Drink it in. Still goes to Arthur. Immortality as an athlete, 19.79. It's a goal, it's 8 goals.
From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.
Every day our lives are changed by history.
We are one people, all of us.
Leaders, politics.
Nobody's ambition is what the blood.
I have fought a very family. Natural occurrence, war, and the world economy.
I belong to everybody, and I belong to nobody.
ATN covers it all on ATN Politics today.
and down like this now.
I hope nobody carry beleo.
Welcome back to See Sports Extraordinary on Atlantic Television Network. And of course, we'll bring you the latest revolving around the world of sports. And still talking about Nigerian football, we hear the duel of Sunshine Stars head coach Kennedy Boboye and Akwa United forward Sani Suleiman have both emerged as the winners of the Nigerian Premier Football League Manager and Player of the Month award. Boy had impressive performance that saw Sunshine Stars go on a 5-game unbeaten streak from May to June, and of course I was able to grab that particular award. Kennedy Boboye, Michael has been very, very outstanding, as a manager in the Nigerian Premier Football League.
Yes, I think it's one name that cannot, escape from our lips anytime you talk about managers that are doing pretty well in the Nigerian Premier Football League. This man has been able to carve a niche for himself out there. You remember earlier in the just concluded season when he was also drafted into the Heartland team when they were battling. He came in, played 7 games within the short spell that he had there. Won 3 of those 7 games, lost 2 and drew 1, and then he was able to at least put Heartland in a very good position to come back very strong. If he has stayed with Heartland, who knows, Heartland might not have gone to relegation, but then his stint with Heartland was cut short when the governor came in to, make that injection. But he moved on to Sunshine. He was able to also replicate the same fine form that we've seen of him, winning 5 games within a month, and 5 of those wins, 2 is an away victory, which is a club, and it's a club that was actually battling for the drop zone, but he was able to bring them back into a very respectable position where they actually beat the drop zone and still afloat the NPFL. So for me, I think Kennedy Boboye truly deserves his flower at this point in time because he's done pretty well so far this season.
Let's see how it goes, of course, for the man Kennedy Boboye. But still talking about the Nigerian League, we hear that Finidi George, could be set to return to the Nigerian Premier Football League after resigning as the head coach for the Super Eagles of Nigeria. Talking about that word resigning down there, nothing concrete yet, but we hear that the man is very close to putting the pen to paper for Rivers United.
Yes, that is still a speculation, and we don't deal with speculation until that is officially confirmed before we talk about that. But like I said, for now it's still a speculation. But if you ask me, is it a nice idea for Finidi George to come back and manage any team here in the NPFL? I think it's a good idea. He goofed in the first instance when he left Enyimba to take up that the Super Eagles job. Within just 40 days of picking up the Super Eagles job, he has also resigned, and that is to tell that it was a very wrong decision for him to have left Enyimba. So if he comes back to manage any club side here in the country, I think it would be good for him because he needs to pass through the lines. He needs to pass through some of these hurdles, get to challenge yourself, and when you are able to prove yourself in the Nigeria Premier Football League, then we can talk about you maybe going for a higher, coaching, platform, and not about spending just 1 or 2 years with Enyimba. Boom, you jump to the Super Eagles national job, which is one of the, demanding job, in the world of football, and you think you can make it count. It doesn't work that way. You need to garner maybe more experience before you can think of, taking such a job in the future. So for me, if he comes back into the Nigeria Premier Football League to pinch his tent with any of the club side here, I think it's going to be a very good one for him.
Let's see how it goes for Finidi George. Can he get the job at Rivers United, and how far, of course, will he go with the side? Can he be able to, put his coaching career back? That's the question, at the moment. But keep our fingers crossed and see how it goes for the man Finidi George. But away from that, we hear Nigerian Sport Minister John Wanino has tasked Nigerian Football Federation (NFF) to look for a top-class foreign coach to tinker the Super Eagles of Nigeria. Michael, what do you make of the thought of the sport minister getting a top-class foreign coach?
I need to take a very deep breath first before. I don't know the description of what a top-class coach here will mean for the Nigerian Football Federation. You talk about top-class coach. Are we looking at possibly hiring Pep Guardiola? Are we looking at hiring Jose Mourinho, the special one? Are we thinking about hiring probably Carlo Ancelotti? What do they mean by a top-class coach? Is it a coach that understands the African pattern of football? Or is it a coach that understands the European kind of football? Is it a coach that have been able to win major laurels here with African teams? Or is it a coach that have won a major laurel in the European scene? So they must be able to expatiate that and make it very clear when you talk about world-class coach. What are they, or top-class coach, what are they thinking about? Because we heard that this Frenchman was in the mix of becoming the new coach, but they came out a few days ago to dispel such rumor. So for me, I don't know. When they say top-class coach, I still can't wrap up my head around who a top-class coach means for an African football, for the Super Eagles, looking at the tight corner we find ourselves right now, seated 5th in our World Cup group out there with just 3 points to show after 4 games, less than 6 games, just 6 games before the wrap-up of the World Cup qualifier. And Nigeria is under pressure, like a music writer will say, talking about Raskimono. Nigeria is under pressure. The Super Eagles is under pressure on how to see if we can be able to qualify for the World Cup. So when they say top-class coach, I don't know what they mean by that. But one thing that I do know is that the Super Eagles need a coach, a good coach that can be able to tinker the boys around, a coach that can be able to command the respect from the big boys, the players out there, a coach that can be able to stamp his authority into the national team and say, hey, today my camp opens today, and if tomorrow you don't arrive camp, forget about you, wearing the #1 jersey or picking up any jersey for the national. We need a coach that has a disciplinary record. We need a coach that commands respect from the players. We need a coach that thoroughly understands how the Nigerian football is played. We need a coach that understands the position that we find ourselves right now. This is, for me, what matters. At this point in time, and we must do that as quick as possible because we have no more time. The delay in appointing a substantive coach, for me, is another major problem itself. Because if we keep waiting, the Nations Cup qualifier is just by the corner. It's not that when you get to maybe a few weeks, possibly 3 weeks or 4 weeks before you now appoint the coach, and you expect the coach to get results. For me, it doesn't work out that way. I agree, we need a good coach. But when they say a top-class coach, that is where I am still trying to understand what a top-class coach means for the Super Eagles this time around.
I'm taking a look at the situation on ground now. The Super Eagles are on the verge of maybe heading down to the 2026 World Cup, or probably being eliminated, as it is. And as well as the African Cup of Nations, the qualifiers is still on at this point. Still talking about the top-class foreign coach that the sport minister talked about. What kind of top-class coach do you expect at this point in time? Do we need a coach that will help us, that is result-oriented, or a coach that will possibly build a team? Is it a result-oriented coach or a building coach, a coach that is coming to build a team that even though we don't qualify for the World Cup or maybe for the African Cup of Nations, we know that we have somebody that will, in the next 1 year, will give us a good Super Eagles team. Which of these managers do you think we need at the moment?
At this point in time, looking at where we find ourselves,
do you know why I asked that question? Sorry. Because Nigerians have been complaining of beautiful football. We've complained of beautiful football in the days of Raw, and all of a sudden, NFF parties with Raw. Now we came to the era of Pesero. He was turning out the result, took us to the finals of the African Cup of the Nation after over 10 years. Nigerians were still complaining we don't have beautiful. We are defending and defending. Now, Finidi came, not a very good, no beautiful football, no good result, and everyone tongue lashed him and he left. So, at the moment, we're at the verge of being eliminated at the World Cup qualifiers. Even the African Cup of Nations, we're not even sure. And at the moment, what coach do we need? Is it a coach that will give us the needed result, qualifiers for the World Cup, qualifiers for the African Cup of Nations, or a coach that will give us at least a good Super Eagles team in the next 1 year?
At this point, there are so many factors and indices that you need to put in place before you talk about the coach that we need at this point in time. One of the factors is that Nigeria failed to qualify for the last World Cup. If we fail to qualify for this very one again in succession, it's going to be a bad one, looking at the pedigree of the Super Eagles. So for me, we don't need a soothsayer to tell us that we need a result-oriented coach at this point, so that we can be able to churn out the result, possibly miraculously qualify for the World Cup, qualify for the Nations Cup. Then we can sit down and begin to look for a coach that can be able to build the team to what we want to see.
So we need a result-oriented coach at the moment.
It's as simple as that.
All right, let's see how it goes. We hope that the NFF will be able to employ this result-oriented coach in order for him to tinker the Super Eagles and as well bring out results as we all expect at the moment. Let's keep our fingers crossed and see what the NFF will do. They are still in search of a new manager since the resignation of Finidi George. We'll see how that one will go. But away from that, Nigerian Sport Minister John Waneno has stated that handling the recent outburst by Napoli striker Victor Osimhen against former Super Eagles coach Finidi George is not the immediate priority for the Nigerian Football Federation. Addressing the situation with newsmen yesterday, highlighted the need for the NFF to prioritize other pressing issues with Nigerian football rather than being sidetracked by the Osimhen and Finidi controversy. He said, and I quote, there has been a plethora of opinions on this. Osimhen is a Trojan for Nigeria, but it was a low, and said, I told the NFF not to make a pronouncement on this before they have engaged Osimhen. This is so, especially because these are not the best of time for Nigerian football, and we have to manage a lot of things. What do you make of this coming from the sport minister once again, Michael, saying that the outburst between Osimhen and Finidi George is not what is the problem of the NFF at this point, that they should just keep that aside and let them focus on something important?
For me, honestly, Kingsley, I think it's very laughable. I think also it is an indictment on a sport minister himself. He should have been able to distance himself from this whole issue and wait to see or hear what the NFF president, talking about Ibrahim Gusau, is going to do about this. Because if there is anything to go by this advice, if NFF has been thinking of taking a punitive action against Victor Osimhen, but because of this his advice right now, they might even try to sweep the matter under the carpet. And when next they are called, if such incident happen, they will say it was a sport minister's advice that they hearkened to. And that is why they did not take the drastic action, the needed measure in order to be able to tame Victor Osimhen SSC. So for me, I think it's a low coming in from the sport minister. I expected him to have kept adamant to see what the chairman of the NFF, talking about Ibrahim Gusau, is going to do about this. So for me, I think I do not buy to his opinion, because if we allow this to stand, if we allow this matter to be swept under the carpet, then I tell you, it's going to be a very, very wrong precedent that will be setting for the national team, because in future, any players, other players might want to toe this line of ugly trend of going to the social media to lampoon and tongue lash and insult the sensibility of the Super Eagles, the head coach, and even the fans at large. And nothing happens. And if anything happens, any action is taken against such player in the future, history will now go back to the day where Victor Osimhen did that, and people will say, what did the NFF do at that so time when Victor Osimhen did this? And NFF will exonerate themselves from that blame. They will say they hearken to the advice of the sport minister, which for me I think is not a good one. It's a very wrong precedent that we want to set if we try to sweep this matter under the carpet. So for me, I do not buy to the opinion of the sport minister. what should be done right. What is good for the goose is equally good for the gander. There are some players that would have committed this same thing that Victor Osimhen did in the national team, and within the space of 48 hours, that players will be sanctioned by the NFF.
Well, we once heard of the issue of Leon Balogun at some point when he came out to talk about the fact that NFF were not, didn't pay them their match bonuses. The man, I think up to today, he's been finding it difficult to get a call-up down to the Super Eagles of Nigeria.
Yes, he's not even today. He's been a recurrent decimal back in the days where we still have the Super Eagles in the 2002 squad, the 2012 squad, and all of that. Any atom of any player coming to the social media to lambast the NFF, automatic action will be taken against. It's either you are dropped from the national team or you no longer see a regular call-up. So for me, like I said, it's going to be a very bad one if this thing is allowed to happen, because there are certain players that will do this and they will not go scot-free. Action will be taken against them. Why is the special treatment for Victor Osimhen, calling him a Trojan of the Super Eagles? As in, does it mean that he's now bigger than the Super Eagles? So for me, I think, like I said, it's going to be a very bad precedent if allowed to, go under the carpet.
All right, let's stay away from that. Michael, England, they struggled to beat Slovakia by 2-1 and skate through to the quarterfinals of the Heroes. And I actually, I had a question there. Where are we going to attribute that victory? Is it as a result of the brilliance of the players or the tactical prowess of Gary Southgate?
Well, when everything is going good for any team out there, whether in the club side or the national team side, definitely the coach takes the accolades. And when teams are not getting it right, the coach also gets the blame as well. This time around, it doesn't matter how scrappy they were able to, churn out that result. Talking about the 3 Lions, if there is anything C3 about them, because right now, looking at their performance, I'm just thinking it's a 2.5 Lion.
I didn't even up to 2. I'm not sure they're up to 2.
So that is what is happening out there. We must give him the kudos because he is still the head coach. If England get to win this very one, despite their scrappy outing so far in 4 games that they've played, they will still attribute the victory to the coach. If they get to lose, they will still attribute the victory to the coach. So in all of this, I think the coach gets the nod out there for me.
All right, let's see how it goes for England. We look forward to see how far they're able to go in this time. But Spain were able to get past Georgia by 4-1. And the interesting part is the fact that after beating Georgia, Spain will be meeting Germany, who actually hosted at Denmark, this time in the quarterfinals.
Well, I think it's a big one for Spain. First, they have actually stamped their foot as one of the favorites, having won their 3 group games and making it 9 points. A knockout stage, they won convincingly, despite going down in that own lone goal. But then they did not, relent. They keep pushing until they actually got that equalizer and went on, to make it a feast of goal. The 4-1 it ended, with Nico Williams being the major orchestrator of the Spanish national team victory. With a goal and assist, also had 100% accuracy in his passes out there. Impressive for Spain. But then meeting the host country, I think it's a very big game. It's going to be the final before the final, because for me, I actually wanted seeing these 2 teams meeting possibly in the final against each other, so that we could see the best of football. But it's coming too early. The 2 best teams in quote in this year's competition meeting themselves. I think I would have preferred to see them meet in the final, but I can't change anything as it stands right now. They will be meeting with Germany, but I tell you, I will be tipping Spain for this very one against Germany.
Defending champion Italy were dumped out of the competition by Switzerland as they were beaten 2-0 over the weekend. But Michael, Belgium, they'll be packing their bag this evening back to their country as they've been defeated by France by 1-0.
Well, I see this one coming. Though you may say the 2 teams are not in the best of their form, but taking a look at the arrays of stars within these 2 teams as well, we'll say yes, maybe France have an edge. The Les Bleus have more squad depth as well, but then despite their squad depth, they have not been they have not showed that class so far since the start of this year's Euro. But then they have managed to progress through, and against a Belgium that is faltering as well. They got a lone goal victory in that very one. That is enough to see them through in the next stage. For Belgium, it's a disappointing one for Belgium because they are one of the big teams, one of the favorites coming into this very one, but they have not been able to show that sparkle, and it's a disappointing Euro for them.
Disappointing one. It was even an own goal by Vertonghen down there. It's also so sad that Belgium will be leaving the competition at this stage of the competition, about this stage of the game. But Portugal will be national against Slovenia as well tonight. We'll see how that one, of course, will pan out. But for the Copa America, the likes of Canada, the likes of Argentina, they've qualified to the next round of the competition. Chile were actually hosted out in the competition. The very first time, I think after 24 years, that Chile, they've not made it through past the group stage of the competition. But early hours of today, we saw some games. Jamaica lost to Venezuela by 3-0. Mexico also played goalless against Ecuador. But Michael, it's been a very impressive run for Argentina, especially in the group stage or for the Copa America.
Yes, expectedly. As a world champion, they've also continued to fire from all cylinders. Despite the absence of the demigod himself, talking about Lionel Messi, they were still able to make it count as the Italian striker, talking about Inter Milan striker, rather, talking about Lautaro Martinez double was able to see them through. 3 victory in 3 games, still pushing. I think the Argentine, they will be highly favored to leave this year's Copa America if they continue with this fine form that we've seen of them. Because the likes of Brazil, they are not that convincing. Chile is already out. Paraguay, Uruguay, these are some of the top countries as well you expect to do well. But then, I still tip Argentina to go far.
All right, at this point, we call it a wrap on the show, and we can't go without telling you that Rivers Angels, they are a sport extraordinaire, as well as Economy Warriors, for winning the President Federation Cup. This is the 3rd time Economy Warriors will be winning the Federation Cup, while Rivers Angels, this will be the 9th time they're winning the Cup. We're back tomorrow by 7 a.m. for Sports Talk. Do well to join us as it promises to be an exciting one. We'll call it a wrap up this, but Michael, been an impressive time this evening.
I always enjoyed myself here.
Don't forget, Pisa Unity was the pathways to progress. My name is Kingsley Manuel. Thanks for watching.
Greenwoods with the goal. Goalkeeper missed it. Play again. Fight him. He does a right hand and down goes Paul straight away. Oh, what a point to end it on. So now this is when they're at their best. And when they're 12 years for this. So drink it in. Still goes to Ireland, New Zealand. What he loves to be immortality as an athlete. 19.79. It's a goal. It's 8 goals.
From the lines across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring all sport news, live analysis,